And welcome back to Body Beautiful. I'm Janelle Marie. With us today, we have plastic surgeon Dr. Joseph Mealy. We're talking about a bunch of different topics. All right, we talked autoplasty, blepharoplasty. Now we've got breast augmentation, very popular. Am I right?
You are very right.
It probably has not ever not been popular.
It's usually up in the top. I think since the 60s when breast implants were invented, it's become very popular.
But it's much better now.
Yes.
Better implants,
better
and better ways to do
better
it.
techniques.
Yeah.
I think overall it's improved, and it continues to improve slowly. I think the biggest changes were in the mid-'80s when they started making a tougher shell, and the mid-'90s when they started using a medical-grade silicone and didn't have the gel bleed. There's a like helium comes out of a balloon, some of the silicone can bleed through the shell with the older implants. That is very, very unlikely
You
now.
hear the gummy bear, and that's because if you cut a gummy bear open right, it doesn't...
It'll stay as two halves. The inside is a very cohesive gel.
Yeah.
So there are some that are very form stable or it doesn't move at all. Some just flow very, very slowly. But both of them in the long-term studies have had no problems with the gel migration, which was the problem before, is the really runny liquid would move around and you'd make scar in response to that. And if it wasn't taken care of properly, it could be disfiguring.
So what about new implants, right? Before we get into how you do it.
So the new implants, the saline implants are kind of the same as they've been all along. Basically, it's a silicone shell with saline in it, though we do have different profiles which can help match to the chest size.
Okay.
And then the silicone implants, same sort of silicone inside, same sort of shells, but there's been some recent increases in the volume placed inside the shell. So it's kind of like they're overstuffed a little bit.
Why is that?
It tends to cause less rippling. And one of the problems, especially with bigger implants, is they'll fold over and we'll get little wrinkles. And most commonly it's on the side where you don't really see it, but if it's in the cleavage area, it's a disaster. So with smaller breasts, with bigger implants, it's more likely.
Need to fill them a little more.
And with these implants, the overstuffing helps.
Let's go to pick number one here and talk about it. So why did this woman need breast aug?
So this is a woman who already had breast augmentation.
Okay.
And on the left side, it's kind of tighter and smaller. And what I've done is replace that implant. Haven't really increased the size tremendously.
No.
But what I have done is take away the tight scar that was around the implant.
Oh,
so sometimes that will move the implant. It'll move it up, usually up or out. And it'll also make the implant feel firm.
So you kind of did a little revision.
So this is a revision.
Gotcha.
Yes, exactly.
All right, pick number two.
And it's done through the same incision that was there before.
That is a beautiful job.
So this is breast augmentation. Thank you very much. She had some asymmetry. Her left breast was quite a bit higher than the right one.
Yeah.
So we had to try and lower that at the time. And it's harder to do. If you lower it, sometimes what will happen is you'll get a fold at the bottom from the implant, but you'll still maintain the fold from the breast.
Really good.
You get what's called a double bubble. So you have to be really careful.
Oh yeah, the double bubble.
Don't like that.
Double bubble boobs.
But the idea is to increase the size, but also keep the width appropriate so that you'll have some
That's a great job. Pick number three. I don't see the scars at all, too. So where are you putting the scars?
The scars for the silicone implants are normally underneath.
Okay.
For saline, it can be underneath or around the areola.
Okay.
Some people will put them in through the axilla or through the belly button. I just find it's more difficult to keep things even through those procedures. And those scars are also more exposed. So if you get a bad scar in those areas, it's harder to hide.
It's harder to hide. That's again, very natural looking.
Very natural looking because she'd had bigger breasts, had children, they got smaller.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm doing really is just reinflating what was there.
Right?
Yes.
So it
didn't need a lift. The nipple is still up above the fold, so when you put the implant in, it goes up.
Very
it looks
natural.
like I've done a lift, but I haven't.
Let's go to another pick. Mommy Makeover, big. Women come in for the Mommy Makeover all the time, right?
Very common, yeah. Children are nice, but they do cause some damage.
This is nice.
So this is similar to the first one. This time the left breast has, her left breast, the one on the right, has been lifted up by capsular contracture.
See that?
So we've lowered it back down.
That looks really good.
So, thanks.
That's very nice.
This matches.
One more pick left.
And in this case, I did do a lift. The fold is at the level of the nipple, and if I just put an implant in that situation, it'll push the nipple down, and then it's low. It doesn't look as good.
Definitely.
So in this case, it's been lifted up, and she had enough breast tissue at the bottom. The lift actually helped bring that breast tissue up around the implant, so that it's not hanging off the implant.
Do you help women with the size? Because I know a lot of women come in and they want, you know, the really big size. But do you talk them out of that if it's going to be too fake looking?
I usually recommend picking something that's proportional to the body.
Yeah.
But if someone wants to be bigger and making them proportional is not going to make them happy, then I can be brought there.
Yeah.
But I will also explain all the problems with that, including neck pain, back pain, higher need for revisions, and more problems with just gravity pulling things down.
And a little hard. A little harder.
It can be.
It can be hard.
But a lot of times people who want bigger breasts already have bigger breasts.
Yes.
And that gives me something to disguise the implant behind.
Because they have a lot of skin.
Yeah.
And real quick, before we go, do they need to be replaced now every so often?
I see on the internet every 10 years, but it really depends if there's a problem. If they're not hard, if they're soft, they're appropriate, they're the right size, there's no evidence that there's a problem.
Not a big deal.
They don't need to be replaced. And with the silicone, the FDA is still recommending getting MRIs. If an MRI is normal, you can feel pretty reassured that your implant is normal.
Sounds great. great. Good information. For more information about Dr. Mealy, you can give him a call at 925-943-6353 or go to the web, drmealy.com or sanfranciscobreast.com. We'll be right back on Body Beautiful with lots more.